Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from and what time you're watching us from. We are aware many of you, some of you watch us from close, and some are actually our members here at PCA Tubonge, but some of you watch us from different parts of the country, and some of us even outside the borders of Kenya. We say thank you. We don't take it for granted. Even you watching us from CAC TV, it is a blessing. I'm your host, Pastor Chege, and this is episode 2 of the Journey to Purpose. Our guest Sam mentioned about his story of how God saved him from an accident where he was hit by a car while he was cycling his bicycle. And he's here today, strong and well. And that is what God can do. And he paused last time by mentioning about how he started learning piano slowly as a gift, and it was just flowing in him. And now his first song. We want to know which song it was. Please go ahead. Which song was it?
Let me give you a story. Now this song has a very unique moment. There was my uncle. His name was Mwasi, the late Mwasi. Now, after when you were in the burial time, I heard the song Amazing Grace being played. It was just on the back sheet, you know those programs out there. So I went and sat on the piano and I started internalizing what I heard the pianist play. He was playing so well, but me was ta 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 ta.
You're looking for it.
Yes, okay. In the mind, like.
So even you don't know which chord you're playing.
Yes, I don't know. I'm just trying. I did not know that there are keys in the keyboard. Like there is C all the way to B.
And scales.
Like, yeah, there is that
progression.
Scale. Yes, me just knew. Bang, like you know that.
It's just playing.
Just play as long as it will sound the melody. So I started practicing slowly by slowly that song until the time my mother recorded me. And after she recorded me, and I'm like, Abuskeni unacheza, and I'm like, okay. Then later on that evening, when she was coming from work, she played it to a certain man of God in the train. She used to have the train, commuter. And the man of God was like, this is your son playing piano like this? That is the trisex. He was like, tell him to come to our church. We need a keyboardist.
Oh, we should put a job.
We need somebody to play for us piano. Iko wapi? It's still there. Nobody is playing it. We need him. Will you allow us to have your son play for us? That was back in 2017. When I joined PCA.
That's very recent. I even thought when him to 208 kuanza ku play.
The 208 I used to play behind the scene.
Okay.
You see that song has really motivated me to learn every chord that is supposed to be played in that Amazing Grace.
So you perfected that song?
I perfected the song to the maximum. Completely. Then after I got that my mother, Sam, Sunday kwaje kwako, are you busy? Are you going to church? Obviously I'm going to church. I wanted to introduce you to a man of God at PCA, the so-called PCA Motoine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let me meet the man of God. And we met, and come on Sunday, after this service, we hear you play. So I went and played for them my favorite song, Amazing Grace. Is it possible you tell us how much you want us we pay you for a service? That was my first time nearly earn 1,000 in a span of 1 hour.
Kwani unashanga kwani mtu anapengwa pesa juu ya kuplay piano?
Exactly. So an hour earned me 1,000.
So you knew this is something now.
Now I knew this is something after we had agreed after the first service, the second service, 1 hour for the 1,000 for one service, and this other one for the second service. And I got my first 2,000 in a Sunday, playing for how many hours? 2 hours. And I can tell you since that time, I'm like, God. Nikikumbuka pale nilitoka to where I am right now, I tell God, indeed, you are God who knows how to maintain purpose.
All right. Today I'm really taking you to different conversations.
Yeah.
I want to present to you a very different conversation as we talk about the journey to purpose. Yours is a bit of a different of a journey. You've lived an anointing I think maybe that's one of the things that caused us to be friends way back, because we just got connected for some reason and became very close. But in fact, initially, me, I never knew your parents are anointed people. But of course, there is what we call, there is the general way people talk about the pastor's kids. In fact, they even have earned the title PKs.
Yeah, PK, yeah.
PKs, yeah. It's a conversation. In fact, PKs are even starting a WhatsApp group ya kusapotiana. Wanakimbishwa sana na maisha. Do you think there is anything special with PKs? Ama tu ni watoto tu kama wale wengine. Venye tu kuna mtoto mwenye anapenda mambo ya God, mwingine mambo ya chacha imbambi, ako tu. Or do you think there is that extra pressure? Because of that pressure, okay, let me not allude to it because I'm not a pastor's kid. You tell me, what do you think about being a pastor's kid? Is it too tough, or is it just an assumption people have, or there are counterattacks?
Being a pastor's kid, it's okay. In short, you are the bulb. My fellow pastor's kids know you are always the bulb. Actually, you are the sun. You are the everything that people want to look at, to credit you or to discredit you, and mostly discrediting the family.
Or after mistake.
Exactly. Kumulikwa. Ule mtoyo pasi, and you're like, amefanya hii stuff. Mtoyo pasi, mtoyo pasi, and you are like, okay. For me, it has been okay. I've been trying to make sure I had my limelight of being a pastor's kid, because most of the time people are like, mtoto pasi amekuja. So if the father is not there, who is the pastor?
Oh,
now you
so
become
pastor
the pastor.
do the job.
So even
and it's not obvious. It's not automatic.
It's not automatic.
And sometimes even you're in a different level of life.
Exactly.
Maybe una grow bado.
Exactly.
But you're being forced to be that reverend.
Exactly. Like now you meet a group of youth. You have seated with them together. Now they look at you, pass it to
you are bishop. Hey, only deputy bishop.
Yes, the pastor is here. So when you I've learned that when you stand somewhere, you represent me myself. I represent our family, and I represent my father, the bishop. So I have to make sure I learn more of my father. So wherever I am, at least I can try to, at least his picture to be seen in me.
Do you think that's a heavy burden?
It is.
Because you didn't sign up for it. Unataka tu kuwa mute, uenjoy life, uko tu. Yes, you love God, but we hujaekwa collar na hujaekwa gown.
You just be, okay. Me personally usually say, being a man of God is reflecting God. So even if I'm standing somewhere, I have to make sure I'm in a godly way, so that nobody can raise a finger. Because if he raises a finger on me, it's not me, it's my dad, and my dad to God. Like it's a
process.
Yes. So for my fellow pastors' kids, PKs, let's watch careful. The devil tries to embarrass your father and mother who are in spiritual leadership through us kids. So you find it's so easy for somebody to tell me, Sam, twende tukakunywe pombe, hata sikia guts, like, but in him is like, I want you to ashame who? Your father. Then your father will ashame the God he serves, because they say from the head of Aaron, the oil that flows from the head of Aaron, that is in Psalms somewhere in between, that the oil that flows in the head of is still the same oil that then it talks about how do you call this, unity.
So I'm hearing like you're saying the son of a king is a king.
Yes.
Because you can't run away from it.
You can't run away from it.
Even if you might not necessarily, maybe you're not gifted as a pastor, but there's something you have.
Yes, exactly.
Hawezi torokea ati hauna anointing.
Hawezi torokea. And pastor's kids, no, you always stand out. Always. Ask Saul and the Paul, the two. You know the two are Saul and Paul. Saul is the bad version. Paul is
Paul
the
is
good version.
the renewed.
The renewed version.
Yes.
So Saul was the highest in persecuting Christian, and still the guy.
Paul is the strongest
in building the faith. So as for pastor's
the same
kids,
person.
Yes, so as for the pastor's kid. The pastor's kid can be the best in all these upcoming, these scandals, how do you call it? All these bad characters, drunkardness, all these bad
sexual immorality.
He's always on the peak. But wait, and when he comes to their side, he's always on the peak.
Okay.
in the godly way.
And there's of course the spiritual battle.
Yes,
of course.
there is that. So for my fellow pastor's kid, I urge you, be careful, maintain the legacy of your parents.
But you can say
it.
The grace is there,
and the grace is
there's sufficient grace in God.
Grace is good. Yeah, grace is there is a lot of, what do you call it? Grace
is sufficient.
Is sufficient.
What a place to stop, because you have to pause. Our time is up. I know you're feeling like me. There's so much more Sam can offer. We'll have him back when time allows. Thank you for following us. This has been Tubonge Show. This is PCA Tome Online, pointing you to Jesus Christ.